What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, Panthers Advice. Today, man, we're talking Josey Jewell. We got to look into the article. We got to look into the article. So, the headline, as you can see right here, Panthers released linebacker Josey Jewell. So, I'm like, okay, they released him. It wasn't working out. And then I read the article. All right, the Panthers released linebacker Josey Jewell on Tuesday after the veteran continues to experience concussion symptoms. So, when they released him, I'm like, okay, that's unfortunate, man. He's probably going to, I would assume, call it because he's really, I think, the only veteran linebacker on the team. Like, if they really wanted him on the team, unless I'm overstepping here, but like if they really wanted him and waited for him to get better, they would keep him, right? But they released him. And then it says right here, according to a team's spokesperson, the 30-year-old Josey Jewell wanted to prioritize his health, makes complete sense in recovery, and be considerate of his teammates. And the move allows the Panthers to move forward with a group of players who are able to get all the practice reps when camp opens tomorrow. Okay, but then it goes like this. All goes well with his recovery, right? He could return to the team at some point in the future. Someone's got to make this make sense, right? Because I feel like the concussion thing, right, is such a big deal in today's day and age that if the Panthers really wanted him on the team, they would say, take your time, put him on the list like they have put Dan Chisna, Sam Martin on that list. But it seems like we're not, unless I'm wrong here, it seems like we're not getting the full story. And I go back to what Dan Morgan said in Indy when he was at the draft combine. Basically said the linebacker room is up for grabs. Anybody can be the starting linebacker for the Carolina Panthers. I gotta say, when I heard that and then I see this, and then I see if all goes well with his recovery, he could return to the team at some point in the future. It seems like we're not getting the full story, but let's take a look at something else real quick. So it says he signed a 3-year contract during the 2024 offseason, started 12 games last year. He was second on the team with 97 tackles, also had 7 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries, and an interception. He missed the last 2 games of the season because of a concussion suffered in Week 16 against the Cardinals. The Panthers have then signed Christian Rozeboom, all right, on the first day of free agency. Still have 2024 Trevin Wallace with starting experience. They also have a group of young players, including Claude, Jacoby. Jacoby did okay, actually, in that Cardinals game. Special teamer John Radigan from Seattle, and rookies Bam Martin Scott, and I don't know how to say that last name, to be honest with you, but let's talk about this real quick. So one thing I want to look at now is where does that leave our inside linebacking core? That leaves us with Trevin Wallace and Christian Rozeboom, Claude and Jacoby. It does not look strong. I'm not going to lie to you. It does not look strong. This kind of goes back to what I said in the draft. At first, I was shocked we didn't really take secondary, but they ended up taking Lanston Ransom. So I'm like, okay, we got a safety at least. No DB is risky because we don't have a lot of depth there, but I felt like inside linebackers is something we needed. A lot of people were like, well, we have Trevin Wallace, we have Christian Rozeboom. And now what? Right? Claude had a couple of good games. Windman, you see where I'm going? Like, depth is so important. And you got to realize we're in the NFC South, right? So the Bucks, they've got a pretty good run game. The Saints have a pretty good run game. The Falcons have a pretty good run game, right? So this is going to be interesting to see what happens in this 3-4 defense, right? You got Wallace, Rozeboom. I do think Wallace will take another step up from last year. You got Rozeboom. We'll see how. This is going to be interesting, guys. I'm not going to lie to you, right? I like Claude. Claude sometimes just plays kind of reckless, right? So this, it looks rough on paper, right? It looks rough on paper. And I go right here. This is PFF final grades last year. You had Ashawn Robinson, and this might actually be better than you think. So he had 54.6, and you got to think, okay, outside linebacker next to him probably wasn't great half the season. They don't have anybody inside, and he still had a 54.6, right? 79th of 132. If you really think about that, that's not as bad as you might think as it is on paper. Because now if he has help and he's playing second string, just trust me on this, Ashawn Robinson might actually shock some people this year. Then you look at Deshaun Williams, not great right here. Shaw Tuttle, ooh, that's not good, right? But look at the difference between these three. 79th of 132, 104, and then the 119th, right? The Brian Ray, right? So, the defensive line needed help, right? Then you look at Clowney right here, 36 of 121. DJ Wanham, he was hurt for majority of the season. They had him 96. DJ Johnson, we'll see what happens there, right? Then you got Josey Jewell right here, 68 of 83. I'm not going to lie to you. Let me go full camp for this one, too. When the Panthers signed Josey Jewell, I was hyped because I've seen him play in Denver numerous times, right? The dude was somebody, he was like that person you hated if he wasn't on your team, but you loved if he was on your team. And maybe I'm forgetting things, but at no point did we ever see anything like that in Carolina. Ever. I mean, from anyone on defense, to be honest with you, right? But Josey Jewell in Denver, right, the outlaw, he was the guy you hated if he wasn't on your team. He was the guy kind of doing things, a little shady, right, after the whistle was called, right? And he was popping people. Comes to Carolina, and I don't know, maybe he's older, 29, 30, and he slowed down a little bit, but it wasn't the same guy, right? And as we continue these rankings, I don't want to put too much stock into this, right, because it's weird how you can do rankings for the same position, Josey Jewell and Trevin Wallace, even though somebody played 17% more snaps than the other person, right? I feel like that's not really, you see where I'm going, right? But besides all that, just so you guys know, I'm not completely sold on this, what I'm showing you guys, but I'm giving you guys kind of an overview. They have Trevin Wallace 2 behind Josey Jewell, and Trevin was a rookie, right? So let that kind of sink in for a little bit. And I don't even disagree with this. That's why I'm showing you guys, because I felt like Josey just never made an impact on defense, right? And you go to here. We look at the schedule. Let me zoom in for you guys real quick. UC Dobbins right here, 17 for 131, right? And if I'm not mistaken, Josey was playing this game. Let's take a look real quick. Yeah, Josey Jewell and Shaq Thompson were both playing. And that's what the Chargers did to the Panthers, right? And I mean, it wasn't just on those two, right? Defensive line wasn't great either. But it was like all season, we got destroyed on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Right? So you look at these grades, and you see the front seven, and you see why the Panthers' defense struggled, right? Then you look at the secondary, a little better. Damani Richardson, Xavier Woods, Jordan Fuller, Nick Scott. Boy, it's kind of rough all the way around. But where I'm going with this whole Josey Jewell thing is, I don't feel like he ever really made a huge impact, right? I don't feel like when the Panthers gave him that contract, that 3-year contract, let's look it up real quick. So then we look right here, 3 years, $18 million, $10 million guaranteed. And the thing to think about this with the whole Josey Jewell signing is that it wasn't a bad signing. Like, if I go back a year ago from today, right, knowing what I know now, it still made sense to sign him because you have him and Shaq Thompson next to each other. Now Shaq's gone. Now Josey's gone. Now you have Trevin Wallace and you have Christian Roseboom on a 1-year, $2.5 million deal, right? So your future at inside linebacker, you don't know what that's going to be, right? Secondary, I still worry about too, but inside linebacker, like I said, after the draft, we seem pretty thin there, and now we are more now than ever. So it'll be interesting to see what the Panthers do between now and, September 8th, 9th, 10th, around that time. Hopefully they don't do what we did last year where we just basically go into the season and we'll just throw something together, right? They did that with one of the edge positions, which I still don't understand that one. But we'll see what happens. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Stay tuned. More content coming soon, including training camp stuff. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Pants and Devices out. Peace.